Today we are going to cover the topic hexose monophosphate shunt. Hexose monophosphate pathway or hexose monophosphate shunt, it is also known as the pentose phosphate pathway or the phosphogluconate pathway. It is also an alternative pathway to glycolysis and TCA cycle because here the oxidation of glucose will occur and we will get directly the formation of carbon dioxide and water from the glucose. And therefore, it is the alternative pathway for glycolysis and TCA cycle. However, HMP shunt is more anabolic in nature because it is concerned with the biosynthesis of NADPH and pentoses. HMP shunt pathway is a unique multifunctional pathway because the intermediates which are formed here, they are used in the various metabolic reactions. The starting product for this pathway is the glucose 6-phosphate. In this pathway, as such, no ATP is directly synthesized or utilized in the HMP shunt pathway. But in this pathway, we get the formation of NADPH and pentoses. HMP shunt pathway, the enzymes of this pathway are located in the cytosol. The tissues such as liver, adipose tissue, adrenal gland, erythrocytes, testes, and lactating mammary gland are highly active in the HMP shunt pathway. Reactions of this pathway, mainly HMP shunt pathway is divided into the two phases. The first is the oxidative phase and the second is the non-oxidative phase. Now we will see the first phase, that is the oxidative phase. Here, as I told you, the starting material of the starting product of this pentose phosphate pathway is the glucose 6-phosphate. And the enzyme is important in this oxidative phase is the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. The short form here is the capital G6PD, capital. It is a NADP dependent enzyme and that converts the glucose 6-phosphate to the 6-phosphogluconolactone. Here the oxidation takes place and the glucose 6-phosphate is converted to the 6-phosphogluconolactone. Then in the second step, the hydrolysis occurs and this 6-phosphogluconate is converted to the 6-phosphogluconolactone. After that, then decarboxylation will occur and we will get the ribulose 5-phosphate, which is a 5-carbon compound. So in the oxidative phase, the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase is the regulating enzyme. We will see the reaction of this phase now first. See if you can see here, and the glucose 6-phosphate is the starting material. Here the oxidation takes place at the first carbon atom due to enzyme glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, and we get the formation of the 6-phosphogluconolactone. And at this step, the one NADPH molecule is produced. Okay. Then after that, the hydrolysis will occur and the water molecule is get added here. And here we get the formation of 6-phosphogluconate. The enzyme used at this step is the gluconolactone hydrolase. Now after this, the dehydrogenation will take place or decarboxylation will take place. And see, this is the 6-carbon compound, the 6-phosphogluconate. From this, the one carbon will remove, means in the form of CO2. The one NADPH is also formed at this step. One carbon dioxide will remove, and the 6-carbon compound will convert it to the 5-carbon compound, that is the pentoses, and we will get the formation of ribulose 5-phosphate. So till here, this is the oxidative phase, and we will get the formation of here the two NADPH molecule will form at this step from one glucose 6-phosphate molecule, and we get the pentose molecule will also form here at this step. Now, if we say the second phase, that is the non-oxidative phase, as we all know, non-oxidative phase means the no oxidation reaction will occur here. And here the interconversion of 3, 4, 5 and 7 carbon monosaccharides will take place. So how this interconversion will take place, due to which enzyme, that we will see later. So now the ribulose 5-phosphate is the end product of the oxidative phase. This is acted by the enzyme epimerase and ketoisomerase. These two enzymes will act on this ribulose 5-phosphate, and we get the two products, that is the xylulose 5-phosphate and the ribose 5-phosphate. Okay. Now I will tell you, before this, I will tell you this. I will show you this slide. See, in the starting of the glucose, this pentose phosphate pathway, the 6 molecules of the glucose 6-phosphate are required. And from this 6 molecule, we get the 6 NADPH at the first step formation. Then 6 molecules of the 6-phosphogluconolactone will form. Then 6 molecules of the phosphogluconate will form. Then 6 molecules of the ribulose 5-phosphate will form. Then these 6 molecules of the ribulose 5-phosphate will split into the 4 plus 2. See, the 4 molecules of xylulose 5-phosphate and the 2 molecules of ribose 5-phosphate. Now, the 2 molecules of xylulose 5-phosphate and the 2 molecules of the ribose 5-phosphate will combine together, and they will form the 2 molecules of pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate and the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, by which enzyme that we will see later. Then again, from these two, we will get the formation of 2 molecules of erythrose 4-phosphate and the 2 molecules of the fructose 6-phosphate. Now, here see, if we can see, the 2 molecules of xylulose 5-phosphate are remaining. Okay, so then these 2 molecules of xylulose 5-phosphate then again combine with the 2 molecules of erythrose 4-phosphate, and we will get the formation of the fructose 6-phosphate and the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. And then this fructose 6-phosphate and this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, they will enter into the glycolysis or reversal of glycolysis, and we get the formation of the glucose molecule or the pyruvate or carbon dioxide molecule. So this is the overall process of the pentose phosphate pathway. So what I want to tell you that here in the non-oxidative phase, the 6 molecules of ribulose 5-phosphate will be there. And therefore here we get the xylulose 5-phosphate, we will get 4 molecules of xylulose 5-phosphate and 2 molecules of ribose 5-phosphate. Then here at this step, the transketolase enzyme will act, and the importance of transketolase enzyme is that it will transfer the 2 carbon atom moiety from one compound to the another compound. This transketolase enzyme will catalyze the transfer of 2 carbon moiety from xylulose 5-phosphate to the ribose 5-phosphate, and to get the formation of the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and the pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate. We will see this in this step. See, xylulose 5-phosphate contains the 5 carbon, and ribose 5-phosphate will also contain the 5 carbon. If transketolase enzyme will act on these 2, then what will happen? The 2 carbon moiety from xylulose will transfer to the ribose. So this 5 becomes 7, and this 5 becomes 3. So from this, due to transketolase enzyme, we will get here the 2 new products, that is the pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate and the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Okay. Now the next enzyme comes into the picture, that is the transaldolase, and this transaldolase enzyme, if you can see, it brings the transfer of the 3 carbon fragment from the pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate to the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to give the fructose 6-phosphate and the 4 carbon atom erythrose 4-phosphate. So if you can see here, from this 7 carbon pseudoheptulose and 3 carbon glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, the transfer of 3 carbon will take place, and the 3 molecules of this 7 pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate will transfer to the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So it will become 6. Okay, so from this 6 compound, we will get the formation of the fructose 6-phosphate, and then here only 4 carbon atom will remain from 7. If 3 will remove, if we will, then we will get 4 carbon atom erythrose 4-phosphate. So transaldolase and transketolase enzymes are important here, and these 2 enzymes works in the presence of the coenzyme, that is the thymine pyrophosphate, TPP. Okay, transketolase enzyme works in the presence of the coenzyme thymine pyrophosphate. So when this transaldolase and transketolase enzyme will act, we get the interconversion of these monosaccharides, as you can see. Okay, from pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate, we get the formation of the fructose 6-phosphate and the erythrose 4-phosphate. Okay, now what will happen? As I had told you already, the xylulose 5-phosphate, we get the 4 molecules of xylulose 5-phosphate, but we have utilized only 2. So 2 are remaining. So these 2 molecules of xylulose 5-phosphate then again combine with the erythrose 4-phosphate. Okay, because this fructose 6-phosphate then enters into the glycolysis. Okay. But this erythrose 4-phosphate is remaining. So now this erythrose 4-phosphate will react with these 2 molecules of xylulose 5-phosphate, and it will again form the fructose 6-phosphate and the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Here also the enzyme is required is a transketolase. The 2 carbon moiety will transfer from each other, and we will get the fructose 6-phosphate formation and the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate formation. And then this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will enter into the reversal of glycolysis, and this fructose 6-phosphate will also enter into the glycolysis. Like that, we will get the formation of the glucose molecule or the carbon dioxide and water molecule. Now, this HMP shunt pathway is a unique pathway, and which is important to produce the pentoses and NADPH. Instead of ATP, what we get here in the HMP shunt pathway, we get the formation of pentoses and NADPH. Now we will see the importance of pentoses, how these pentoses are important, which are formed in the pentose phosphate pathway. So these pentoses then will utilize useful for the synthesis of the nucleic acids, that is RNA, DNA, and many nucleotides such as ATP, NAD, FAD, coenzyme A, etc. And these NADPH molecules, they are important for the synthesis of the fatty acids, steroids. Okay. Then also they are important for the synthesis of certain amino acids involving the enzyme glutamate dehydrogenase, and they are also important in the if there is continuous production of H2O2 in our body, it will damage some lipids. So it will prevent it due to some antioxidant reactions which involves the NADPH molecule. So this is all about the importance of NADPH and pentoses, which are produced in the HMP shunt pathway. And this is known as the HMP shunt pathway. Means here directly we get the formation of carbon dioxide from the glucose molecule. Okay, that's why it is alternative pathway to the glycolysis and the Krebs cycle. And this is known as the pentose phosphate pathway.